Basically, it's a tournament where all the best players in the world from different countries and everything come in the same room and play the game that we all love.
I am Jace Belair.
And I am Stoneforge Mystic.
It's just a really amazing game.
That's just mind-boggling to even think about.
I guess the rest is history.
In Magic, there's a bunch of open events you can play in to get better. Like you can play in open events, you can play in Grand Prix, PTQs. A couple times a year there's events that are closed off to the public and only players who are qualified can play for it. It's for the largest amount of money and it's the most prestigious. You can measure your ability at Magic or your career or resume at Magic by how many Pro Tours you've done well at. And basically it's a tournament where all the best players in the world from different countries and everything come in the same room and play the game that we all love.
We are at Magic Weekend Philadelphia, which includes the third Pro Tour stop of the 2011 season.
The formats are a blend of Modern and Draft. This is the first large, big show for Modern.
I'm playing Deathcloud Rock. It's a black mid-range deck. You win by disrupting them with Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek, and then you win with like Termaglyph and Kitchen Finks. And you also have a Garruk Wildspear and Deathcloud combo, so you can clear the whole board in hand, and you're left with Garruk.
My first Pro Tour was Pro Tour London '99. I was 15. So when I went to that Pro Tour, I was blown out of the water just by seeing John Finkel and getting to play a draft with him, and all the big stars at the time, and I'd never played in a big tournament. I mean, now for me when I go to the Pro Tour, I still look forward to seeing their big name players, but I know them all, and I've been to so many Pro Tours. It's my 33rd or something. That I can't say it has that magic, but I think it does for people when they go to their first one. My opponent I just played, it was his first Pro Tour, and he was telling me he was excited because he played Martin Juz round one, and that is exciting. Martin's one of the best players in the world. The guy was from Europe. Martin's the best player from Europe. So I understand how it's really exciting for him. If I played Martin round one, we would just grumble about playing each other.
I mean, I tested a lot of decks. We tested Cloud Post decks, combo decks, and it might not be the best deck, but I think it's it gives you a chance to be combo, control, aggro, and 12 post.
I'm playing Zoo. We went through a lot of decks, and he was working on the Zoo deck the whole time, and he's one of our best deck builders. In the end, when nothing seemed too spectacular, playing his Zoo deck seemed like a very good choice. It's just a collection of some of the most powerful creatures ever printed. Wild Noctowl, Tarmogoyf, Noble Hierarch to get them out a little quicker. And then, some burn, some removal, bolts and paths and whatnot.
I'm playing a mono green 12 post, like Cloud Post, Glimmer Post, Vesuvas, just to ramp you up faster to cast Primeval Titans into Emrakul's and get Ayabugan, combo off that way.
I played Naya Predator Zoo. We decided to play the deck because it had a number of really good interactive spells. It had Boom Bust, it had a way to reliably win the Zoo Mirror in Punishing Fire, Grove of the Burned Willows, and Kavu Predator. So we would just always have bigger creatures and we would overload their Path to Exiles. In addition, we also felt like we had a number of really good Knight of the Reliquary lands that would give us advantages in multiple other matchups.
My first time, I was really excited. I was pretty scared too and pretty nervous. But I was first round, I got paired against a fairly well-known player at the time. Then I beat him pretty easily, and then that gave me a bit of confidence. I was oh, maybe I can do well. I played a Tezzeret deck with both Planeswalkers, the old one and the new one.
Played 12 post, but it was a little more combo-y, a lot faster than regular post decks. I played Amulet of Vigors and Summer Blooms so that I could do things like cast Emrakul on as fast as turn 2, because I felt that regular 12 post was a little too slow for the blue-red combo decks. And I kind of sped it up a little bit so that I could actually beat them, which I did a few times.
Basically, I tried to lock people out with Ensnaring Bridge, eventually Bottled Cloister, or just emptying my hand. And I also used Torpor Orb and Damping Matrix for the combo decks, as well as for main deck Canonist. So basically trying to lock people out and eventually just ultimate them with the blue-black Tezzeret.
My opponent had the unfortunate choice of Thoughtseizing away a Lightning Bolt or a Slagstorm, and he took the Bolt for some reason, but the Slagstorm was going to his face anyway, so it really didn't matter.
Some players who got knocked out early are a little less pleased when the guys who have been rewarded for their playtesting and are sitting at the top tables today. But it's a new format. It's still a lot of information. Magic players thrive on information, and the more they know about decks that are out there, then the better they can build their decks that they want to bring to an event like this. And so everyone was operating in somewhat of a vacuum, and there's a lot of kind of what you would call loose card choices in some of the decks. So I think people feel better prepared for the next iteration of the modern format.
I think that there are a number of combo decks that, if people actually played them and tuned them well enough, would be pretty close to unbeatable with the cards that are in the format, and that the banned list needs a pretty good looking at again. But you have to give decks a reason to want to play Magic after turn 4, or they won't.
Anytime there's a new format, I think it's fun, and there's always something unique and different you can do. I mean, if there's one best deck and everybody's playing it, then you can maybe come up with something that beats that. So, you know, I thought this format was fine. I had a good time. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad they made the change.
It's just knowing that you're playing at the highest level of anything is, you know, a rush, but it's also, you know, really fun.
Playing in the tournament, not even about the money, you know, but just playing the game's pretty intense, pretty competitive, and like, you know, it's just a great feeling when you do it.
The Pro Tour is definitely a lot more serious than, you know, your casual game of Magic. But I think the key of being successful at it is to not think of it that way, not let it get you nervous. I mean, I think one of the reasons why Finkel and Luis and these guys just continually do well every time is because to them it's like no big deal. They're just playing their usual game of Magic. They're going to play it well, make the right decision, do the right thing. Whereas their opponents are caught up in like this big hall. There's people everywhere. So much is on the line, and it gets to you. I mean, it gets to me. And I play poker tournaments for millions of dollars and don't get nervous. I come here and I'm like, each round I'm kind of nervous. I'm like freaking out. Like, oh, I've got to win this one, 3 more to make top 8. Things that I shouldn't think about. And if I could just sort of bring the scenario to just, I'm playing a game of Magic, don't worry about anything else, it makes it a lot easier. And, you know, if I was able to control that, I think I could do a lot better. So I think to the normal person playing on the Pro Tour, they're probably going to experience that, where the greats don't really see that. They just see it as, I'm playing a game of Magic, I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to make the right decisions.
On the professional level, the game has existed for 18 years now, and it has been like polished smooth by millions of players doing their damnedest to break the game every single day. It's just a really amazing game. I've been playing the game since 1994. I've never gotten tired of playing it, and the game is infinitely different.
It's incredible. You are sit down and you feel like stand up without willing, and you don't believe it. I like to thank my team, Team Tuscany, like Giusto Emanuele and Francesco Cipoleschi, to help me test, and they helped me sideboarding and the strategy. Win the Pro Tour is incredible. You didn't realize at the same time when he straights the hand to you, and you think I win, and everything feels like more light and perfect.
Grasp of Darkness is 2 black mana for an instant to give target creature -4/-4 until end of turn.